Hello, everybody, and a very warm welcome to MTD Watch Series by Ask the Accountant Network, the podcast series dedicated to everything making tax digital. Hosted by myself, Aaron Patrick, Amy, and Suzannah, and it's the weekly show that goes live and deep dives into the world of MTD itself. Just realised I'm reading the wrong thing, so let me. I'm your host. I didn't think it sounded right. I'm your host. Joining me today is Amy. Amy, let's just go for that. Hashtag Amy. How's your day been?
Good. Should we do weather watch? Let's do weather watch. Cloudy. I've got the winter coat out. I've put the fans away. We're done. But yes. Hi everyone. Hashtag audit Amy here. Busy audit month for me.
Has it been busy? Has it? Oh,
yeah. It's December year ends, filing deadline.
There's a lot going on this next 2 weeks as well, isn't there? Like, yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, who needs sleep? I'm back on Red Bull. It's fine. Power through.
Suzannah, how are you? Hashtag MTD Queen. We need to get you to put that somewhere behind or something. We need a reference to it.
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, good. It's miserable here as well. I'm back in long sleeves. Yeah, heating, thinking about it. I'm trying to resist. It's too early, isn't it?
Yeah, certainly.
Don't do it.
I had to drop my car off this morning for an MOT and I almost drowned. It was that wet. Like literally, there was like.
We had hail the other day.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I went to London yesterday and it was beautiful. Like,
yesterday was nice.
Yeah, couldn't get my head around it. It was down here. So in the series, we'll be unpacking the true cost of MTD readiness, exposing the common pitfalls and grilling the software vendors on what's working and even dive into what isn't. We're broadcasting live across LinkedIn, YouTube and Instagram. And this episode will also be available on demand on all major podcast platforms. Be sure to follow and subscribe so you don't miss a moment of the new series. And if you're watching live, drop your questions and curveballs in the chat. Just like Mahul says, and he says, good afternoon, everyone, from a cloudy and rainy London. So it's cloudy, raining down London today. Oh, no. Not what we want. Kirsty says, yay, hello, everyone. Mahul says, hashtag audit Amy. And Kirsty gives a weather update from March, and she says, wet and soggy, and it's chilly. Just wondering what it is in September. You know what I mean? Like, what's it be now? So that's the joke that keeps on giving, isn't it? Before we go any further, just a big shout out to the MTD Watch Series and everyone that's watching. We are smashing records left, right, and centre. So we can just say thank you to each and every one of you listening, watching, commenting, engaging, however you decide to take this content on board. We really do appreciate it. We were smashing records before last week, and then we smashed even more last week. So massive thank you. We did our 150th episode of Ask the Accountant the other day. That's hence why there's some balloons if you are watching. And yeah, we are very, very happy with how MTD Watch Series gone. So thank you so much. And hopefully we got some even more tantalizing topics coming your way. Again, we've got some feedback, we've got some questions, but we're going to wait until we've completed this showcase series before we move on to those ones. And I didn't have time to even look. I'll ask you guys, any news you want to bring into the table? We never asked beforehand. So any MTD news we should be talking about?
None from me personally. I've been in my cupboard, so I have not been looking at the news. So I've seen it through a few I've been dipping into LinkedIn, see Craig from HMRC's getting around a little bit, doing some of his talks, but nothing that's stood out to me. Anything, Suzannah?
No, I've not seen anything new. That's for certain. No, just the usual kind of questions and stuff on social media and people sort of saying the same things. But yeah.
That's fine. That's absolutely fine. Well, this episode is going to be a little bit different because this episode we are diving into what QuickBooks is doing. And we scoured high and low to find a suitable person to come along. And just before we go into that, actually, the Sage episode was absolutely brilliant. We got Sam on and she's absolutely smashed it. And her community helped push the numbers. So that's why we're doing so well. And then we had Stu on last week. And again, his community came along, pushed numbers. So done really, really well. So fingers crossed here, the QuickBooks people out there, social media team and everything else. We'll see if that happens, and we'll see what the numbers happen, and see if it goes from there. So
at the end, when we summarize all of the software, and then we summarize the ratings for the episode, it's going to be a twofold.
That's
Who's
it.
smiling has been listening to the episode.
Maybe we should, when we give our recommendations after all the showcases, maybe it should be based on how popular that particular episode was. Do you know what I mean? Like, so if you want to, give your software a fighting chance, maybe you want to be promoting it. That's what I'm saying. Like, so good to see. But anyway, we were looking for someone to go and push the QuickBooks brand on behalf, and we thought, well, maybe we'll look internally for this one. And we've got half of the QuickBooks Lab podcast, which is a dedicated QuickBooks podcast. So I'm actually going to dual role in today. Now, when I'm talking to you like I'm going to talk to you like now. For anyone who's listening on the audio option only, when I put this hat on, and you'll never know what this hat is, this is when I'm going to be the QuickBooks chat. Now, full disclosure, I've lost all my hats for QuickBooks, so I've had to create my own. I feel like this more of a bonnet. What do you think? Do you think it's quite stylish?
Lovely.
Yeah.
A September bonnet rather than an Easter bonnet. I love it.
Bonnet. Yeah,
love
September.
If anyone from QuickBooks is listening, please can we provide Aaron with another QuickBooks hat? It's okay looking if you're listening on the podcast. Your bonnet's okay looking. I think QuickBooks have better hat space. Yeah.
Or this is now available on our merch store. One of one. Actually, no, I'm not going to do that. It's my Lando hat, so that's not happening. Right, okay, people. Let's do the showcase for QuickBooks themselves. So, how we're going to set the scene of this particular episode, and get involved in the comments as well. And if you've got any questions or anything you want to bring in, but I'm first going to talk at you as to what QuickBooks has done from an MTD point of view. Then we're going to open up the floor and give you guys some opportunities to ask some questions. Is that all right with that one?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So first of all, let's roll back what QuickBooks has done for us in terms of MTD. One of the things that I'm really happy about MTD as a whole is it has made the vendors think about trying to come in and set new ways in which they're doing things. So when it comes to MTD, we've been talking a lot about like the changes and everything else. But when we strip back to what the positives about it is, the positives is made the vendors go, right, we need to do something different. And that's exactly what QuickBooks did, in fairness to them. They released a brand new SKU called QuickBooks Sole Trader, which was built from the ground up for MTD and MTD only. And when you look at the competitive landscape that we've got here and all the different vendors, there's only really QuickBooks and Sage that have gone out their way to build a brand new one, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that means that others will start following suit as well. When you build it from the ground up, you can make sure that it is dedicated to what its purpose is. And in this case, when you think about the people who are going to be using this, it's probably people who've never used software at all in their world, right? Like they've never used. There's a reason that they've not adopted software at this point. There's a reason that they've stayed clear of using QuickBooks, Sage, Free Agent, or whatever it's going to be. So when they're kind of being tasked with building this brand new software, the task is trying to make it as simplified as it possibly can be. Make sure the terms are something that people can understand. Make sure when they log in, it's not overwhelming. Make sure that we're using AI and everything else to be able to have an option to be able to go in and make it as simplified as we possibly can. And when you think about what QuickBooks Sole Trader is, that's exactly what they were able to build for us. People who have used QuickBooks for a while, there was a solution called QuickBooks Self-Employed. And you can think of QuickBooks Sole Trader as the replacement for that. And what they did was take all the good things out of QuickBooks Self-Employed and all the bits that we as accountants and bookkeepers need out of a QuickBooks license. And they tried to merge that into one, and that's where QuickBooks Sole Trader comes from. So in a nutshell, what QuickBooks Sole Trader is the, and I would argue, the most simplistic version of software there is available. The idea is that you log in and you're not bombarded with jargon you don't understand. You're not bombarded with like all these complicated solutions and everything else that goes with it. What you're presented with is just a really simplistic and really straightforward product, because it was built with MTD in mind, with that client base in mind. One of the benefits you have with the QuickBooks Sole Trader platform is that it's fully AI driven from day one. So you could literally go in, attach a bank account, and it will auto categorize every single transaction within that bank account for you without you having to raise an additional finger, right? It's using machine learning. It's going through and doing from that. Now, is it 100% accurate? No. Is it something you could probably you could just submit without checking? No. You've got to bring those controls in place. But what I would say is, it's going to learn over time, so you would expect it to get better and better as time goes on. But B, I think the most important thing for us is it keeps it consistent, right? Like, it's consistently going to post whatever transaction it is to wherever it's going to do, and it's going to consistently do that. And we know as accountants and bookkeepers and everything else, when we're going through, if it's consistently put to a single place, actually then much better for us to go in there, fix it, move it, and move it around. So in a nutshell, they've created this really straightforward solution where some of our clients out there, we are asking them to go in, attach their bank account, and that's it from an MTD point of view, because everything's going in there. Within tolerance, we'll change things around for them, move things to right things to make it look like it's correct. But ultimately, from an MTD compliance point of view, for some clients, that's all they need to do. They just need to make sure, A, they've got that separate bank account, and B, that it's connected. And if they've got those two in place, then thanks to QuickBooks Sole Trader, we're able to comfortably deliver an MTD compliant solution for them. There are some bits where, as a super user of QuickBooks, I pull my hair out and I get frustrated at, and me and Amy have had constant conversations on QuickBooks Labs about frustrations we've got and issues we've got, and there's this button doesn't work and that button doesn't work. But actually, for the end user, most of what we're talking about, they'll never know. Some of it they will, and some of it will still frustrate them. And there's still some bits where I think if they tweak this bit and tweak that bit, now we'll talk about what they are in a bit, they'll have a perfect solution. At the moment, it almost feels like it's a solution that's got so much potential, but it's not quite there at this point in time. But then there's other solutions that I think, or other issues with the product that I find and problems that I've got with it, which most people will never ever have any issues with and will never probably notice and have and everything else. So it's always sometimes a little bit skewed from my opinion of what the product is and an opinion of us on QuickBooks Labs, because we're so laser focused on, well, why is it not doing this? Why is it not doing that? When actually in reality, it doesn't matter. The QuickBooks Sole Trader product has MTD built directly in, so you can go and submit from there and put it through in. It's quite a nice little experience when you're doing it for them. And because it's now based on the full QuickBooks platform, we get things like working papers, and we get the opportunities to kind of attach it to our whole, the rest of the product and everything else that goes with it. But also means that if the client then decides they need to be VAT registered or they need to move up in the world, we need to turn that on and go from there. So I'll leave it there for questions now. I've got a little bit more to talk about Sole Trader and stuff and everything else. But before we move on to the main QuickBooks, what's your guys' opinion? Have either of you played with it, used it? Talk to me.
So I'll go first. Obviously, part of QuickBooks Labs, so we have looked at it, and I think I'm not biased to it at all. So I'd like to ask you a couple of questions, Aaron, and bring it back down to the people that don't use QuickBooks. Right. It's called QuickBooks Sole Trader. Can it deal with landlords?
So they want it to deal with landlords, and they've got chart of accounts that make it work for landlords. Would I say it's the best solution for landlords? It's for your simplistic landlords, and all they've got to do is be compliant, and their income's going in a separate bank account, and it's income in, as in the rents received gross, and then they're just going to account for some expenses through that bank account as well. Yeah, perfect. From a compliance point of view,
joint landlords.
So no. I've got to be careful here because there's my little book. Let me just go to my book of things in the NDA I can't talk about.
Oh, I love this. I've not seen this before. It's brilliant.
125 on this one. Let me just read this. Yep. Oh, okay, right. So there is something coming for joint landlords.
Okay.
I feel like it's going to be, the implementation of it is going to be something that we're all going to start to accept. And what I mean by that is the number of licenses we need and all that and everything else. Like, I think there's one solution out there we spoke about last week where they seem to have absolutely nailed it. And I think that's not going to be the norm. That's going to be an exception to the norm. I think every other product is going to be however many landlords you need, you're going to have that amount of licenses for. But what I do think that, and what they should be judged on, is what they do with that data after that, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So without being too careful of what I know and what I shouldn't know, I know that they're looking at a solution that means that it can be elegantly looked at both licenses and will make it a lot easier for us to deal with it as accountants and bookkeepers. But the caveat to that is, from what I can tell, they are definitely going, 100% they're going to need to have additional licenses or multiple licenses to make that work. Does that mean that they'll have to pay full price for the licenses and stuff like that? That's probably where there's conversations that can be had and maybe deals can be struck and stuff like that. I assume. One thing QuickBooks is normally quite good at is being accommodating, right? So I'd imagine that they'll be there, but the requirement to have multiple licenses is definitely there.
And so would that work that those multiple licenses would be linked? So the bookkeeping would only need to be done on one and it would link through to the other, and they would have their apportionment depending on ownership percentages and stuff. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, again, I can't say too much, but
okay.
I know that that's what the pain point they've been presented with is, and I know they're looking at solutions to try and find that through. It's also going to be the way around, right? Like where it might be you have like multiple ones, you need to consolidate them as well. They're looking at both scenarios and trying to find an elegant solution. But I think for a lot of solutions out there, other than the one we spoke about last week, I think you're going to have multiple licenses, and we're just going to have to be relying on how they make that elegant for us as bookkeepers and accountants, and how that's going to work. One thing I would say though is for me, I think just a new chart of account doesn't necessarily mean it's a good. Well, in fact, that's total garbage from me. For me, just putting a chart of account for rental property isn't enough. Like I imagine you guys feel the same with that, right? Like just as a chart of account doesn't make it a rental property solution, right? What I would say though that goes in favor for QuickBooks Sole Trader is QuickBooks, Xero, Sage, all of those ones. We have to do workarounds to do grossing up, and grossing up can be quite frustrating. I'm talking about the full solution of each one of those, right? And once we've learned the solution, we'll make it work, right? But you try telling that to a complete novice or someone who doesn't understand bookkeeping, or what MTD is going to be targeted for. That's a really hard skill to teach someone, right? The concept of grossing up and why that's important and everything else. What I would say in QuickBooks Sole Trader is they nailed the grossing up process. So the idea would be is the income will come into the bank. You say that its income should be, say it's £900 and it's £1,000 that the rent was received. You'd put £1,000 in, it'll automatically put the expense in for you, and you just need to make sure it's allocated in the right place. Could they make that more elegant with things like rules and stuff to automatically do it? Yeah, and that's where, as a pro super user, whatever you want to call us, is like, that's what we'd expect, or that's what we want to see. But is that a deal breaker? Probably not. So again, Sole Trader at its core is designed to be as simplified as possible, and that idea there of the actual grossing up is actually really simple. You just tell it that it should have been £1,000, and it will then work the difference out and put it in for you. That's where I think it wins really, really well. And I think that's where other solutions need to go, right, that should be the new norm of doing that, right? That should be the way that we put that going forward. Because what we don't want to have to teach every single client how to gross up, especially for rental and stuff, right? We don't want to have to go through that. Or we don't want to rely on a a third-party solution to extract that data for us, because there are some really clever OCR technology out there, right? There's that can do that for us. You put the statement in and it'll extract it beautifully line by line and put it through from there. Do we need that level of detail for a small MTD? And then we've got to raise our prices, and we've got to, or they've got to pay for the extra software. Do you know what I mean? We're just adding complication and stuff. So if we can find solutions that are super simple like this one, that's where I think the winner's going to be.
So it's getting there. And I think a lot of them are like that. They're all evolving as they go, as we go through towards April. So it's, as we're talking about all these different softwares, they are all changing all the time. Yeah. So by the time, in a couple of months' time, it will be there with the landlord and look a bit better. But obviously, it sounds like it's one step ahead of the others when it comes to the grossing up.
Yeah, and
I haven't seen that in anything else.
There is nothing as simple as this product on the market, in my opinion. You literally can, there's some clients out there, they could attach their bank account and press submit to MTD and they will be compliant. It's a scary world, and I don't want to encourage that, but if you look at what MTD is, they could be compliant at that point. Now, obviously, we would do our checks, and all of us on this call and everyone listening to here, we would want to do some checks and want to check it, and we want, what we want are the tools to make sure that we can go in not only confident on checking, but also tools to clean it up if there's any problems, right? Like, that's what we as accountants and bookkeepers, that's what we want out of software more than anything else, isn't it? It's that back end stuff that we can go in and sort it out, or have tools in place so that if that happens again, client's transaction comes in and it's going to car or something, or motor expense, when we know we're not claiming that, we're doing mileage, right? We want a rule to go in and make sure going forward it never hits that again, right? So that's where it's there, but it's not exactly how we would want it, right? And that's where my pushback's been in terms of where it is at this point in time. I think from a client's point of view, it's absolutely brilliant. Other than the one frustration at the moment, and that's down to people like me was moaning about it when it first came out, is their receipt capture. So in a Plus, the receipt capture is built directly in the product. You don't need to install a separate solution, everything else. So you have your QuickBooks, QuickBooks license, your QuickBooks app. It's got a receipt capture in it. You take a photo of a receipt and it will get into QuickBooks. But what it's doing then is it's doing the OCR technology. It's taking the date, taking the amount, and it's looking for the transaction already in QuickBooks to then match it. So if that transaction is there, no problem. It matches it. Everyone's happy. Moving on. But I'm sure you're going to have a lot of clients who do. Not always those transactions go through the bank, right? There's going to be situations where that's not there. And that's where receipt capture primarily is such a powerful tool to most people is, I paid for that accidentally on my credit card, or that's a cash payment and I didn't know any other way of recording it. So I took a photo of it, because you're encouraging me to be digital, right? Unfortunately, in QuickBooks Sole Trade at this point in time, when that happens and that scenario happens, there's no way for you to create the transaction from the receipt captures technology. You can only match, which already with clients we've got, and we've got quite a few on the Sole Trader platform, but I would say about 10% of them are causing us a big issue, because they're taking photos and they're doing everything we're telling them to do. And then for us to process that is a really long and laborious job, because the workflow at the moment is you've got to go back to the bank area, or the transaction area, should I say, create the transaction manually by having it on two screens or something, going back to the transaction, matching it, and moving on from there. So that's where I feel like, and they were stuck between a rock and a hard place, because I remember when they first gave us the concept of Sole Trader, and they said, we're going to allow you for the first time ever to do bank reconciliation, right? And that's something in the Sole Trader product we could never do. So we were always relying on sense check, because it was never double entry in Sole Trader. In self-employed. In Sole Trader, it's double entry. In Sole Trader, we get the opportunity to reconcile and everyone's happy. But I brought up at the time that my fear is that if we're going to just let them add transactions, and we're never going to reconcile a bank, right? So they took that feedback on board. They restrict adding transactions, but now we're in a position where it makes it really difficult for you to process non-bank transactions.
Yeah.
And that's another one where we've had recently where we've started on Sole Trader, realized that, you know, they're using EPOS solutions just to quickly, you know, they're a really small honey seller. So very small transactions. That's, you know, they just sell jars of honey. That's all they do. They have a nice EPOS solution, right? So we want to extract that data for them, get that in easily. So Sole Trader wasn't quite right for them because you can't get the third party information in there. That's
Right.
when to the full version of QuickBooks.
So does Sole Trader allow multiple bank accounts and multiple bank feeds?
Yes,
So
and
it
credit
does allow
cards.
that. Okay.
Yeah, so every
Okay.
bank feed that you could have within the normal
Credit cards,
QuickBooks
yeah.
is allowable and brings that in. PayPal, no problem, those sort of things.
Right.
But it doesn't have access, or there's no APIs for third parties to allow access to it. So you can't let Apron.
So there's no other integration at all with anything. So you couldn't integrate like a data capture if you wanted to not use their own receipt capture. No. Okay.
No. And again, that is down to people like
Right.
me who
It's your
are
fault.
so nervous about the reconciliation process. Imagine you're in a position where you did allow that sort of thing. You went to reconcile the bank. It'd be an absolute nightmare because everything just gets added in and it all gets into a pool. It'll be really difficult to unpick it at that point. So yeah, I am 100% to blame on that. Because also I love the eBay transactions because for resellers this is a perfect solution, right? And letting them connect their eBay so that it then tells the right information to HMRC if they're worried about, you know, now that they're sharing information and stuff like that. Like, there's a huge potential here. It's just not 100% realized in my point, from my personal opinion for certain client base. But you know, for the majority of the MTD ones out there, I do think it's a great solution, and it just makes it easy for them, right?
I think you probably delved in a little bit deeper than we have on the other ones that we've had already, because you're talking about receipt capture. I was thinking, did we actually speak to Free Agent and Sage about receipt capture? I don't remember us talking.
They've got the mobile app,
yeah.
which is works really well on Free Agent. Yeah, and they have a smart capture option as well, which is an add-on, but it also does integrate with auto entry. I'm not sure if it integrates with Dext.
They're trying to get Apron to work as well.
They're trying to get Apron. That's hopefully in process. But the receipt capture that's built into the mobile app works really well, because you're only looking at small clients with like not loads of receipts. So if you get them trained to just take a photo on the app and upload it, it's really easy.
Yeah, and I think that's again, as people that have watched, I'm still trying to get people to get business bank accounts, but at the same time, like I'm like, right, we need to get snapping of these receipts. So it's all got to be digital for me. It's got to be snapped, because then they're not doing that. I don't want to get the box of receipts anymore.
No,
I do
exactly.
still, and I probably will, but let's just try and reduce it a little bit. So that is quite a key factor. You mentioned, Suzannah, mobile. Aaron, QuickBooks, mobile, Sole Trader.
Yeah,
that's not something I've actually, hands up, not explored that yet, because I'm always waiting for CIS. I need the CIS to be fixed first. So mobile for QuickBooks Sole Trader, all done, all ready to go.
Yeah, and CIS is in QuickBooks Sole Trader, which was a big ask and a shock, to be honest. If I'm completely honest,
only for subcontractors, though, isn't it? They don't have the contractor
for sole trading.
Yes, I know they do in the other licenses, the more advanced ones.
But when it comes to the app, the nice thing about this, and again, this is where the best of both worlds is how I kind of see QuickBooks Sole Trader, is QuickBooks Self-Employed was a super popular app. Like, for our clients who use QuickBooks Self-Employed, they were only ever interacting with the app. They never logged in on the browser to do things, right?
No.
But the problem was it was a separate app. And it got really confusing. You go to the App Store and you put in QuickBooks, there was two different types. There's QuickBooks Sole Trader, QuickBooks Self-Employed. So the good news is it's now all in the same app. And basically, if they log in as a QuickBooks Sole Trader license, they just get a different interface. And again, it's this idea that because they've learned, because they're able to build this from the ground up, they're able to go, okay, so if we add this here and you know, make this, you know, like simple point is that they don't have to have all the complications there. They don't need to know what a bill is. They don't need to know, you know, all that they can just strip it right down to, okay, here's my bank transactions. They're the transactions come through, and we can go through and kind of check to make sure they're happy with it. Here's my receipt capture. Here's a mileage tracker, so it does automatic mileage tracking. It's
good.
Follows you around, and you can then decide how much mileage it's going to do. So it's got all that built in that makes it nice and straightforward. You can raise your invoices and everything else. Still back to your problem though, Amy, that QuickBooks just hasn't solved yet of it's not compatible with CIS on the mobile, which is a massive red flag. But it's one of those where it's a UK problem, and when it's a US product, it gets really like, that's where free agent always going to have that benefit. And same with Sage, like they're UK prominent market, we can get them updated. But yeah, the app is there, and back to that simplicity as well. Like you'd expect them just to bring over the rules from the old or the full version of QuickBooks, right? But they didn't do that. They decided to build a new rule solution and just simplify it again. Now they brought it with problems and issues that I found and I'm not 100% happy with, but again, I'm looking at it as a pro user and trying to kind of figure it out. But for everyone else, the idea of a rule sounds amazing and sounds really useful, and the fact they've simplified it to make it super simple to use means it's going to encourage a lot of people to use it going forward. So, you know, one thing that MTD has done for us is given us an opportunity to, or given the vendors an opportunity to build these new products for us that we can utilize and bring in. And I'm really hopeful there's a way that we can take some of the learnings from this, start bringing it into other products, because there's certain things it's doing so well, the simplicity, this, you know, the straight categorization, all that sort of stuff, that hopefully we can learn from other products going forward.
So can I ask a really basic question? So I do use QuickBooks, but I only use it for limited company clients at the moment. So how similar does this sole trader version look to the QuickBooks that I'm used to, which would be like the Essential or the Advanced or the Plus license? Great question.
So if you were looking at this compared to self-employed, completely different, like aesthetically, the way it works and everything else, and the fact it wasn't even double entry, right? Completely different. Sole trader is still different, and there's no way around that, but at least aesthetically it's got some bits there, and some of the buttons still work from Essential. Like,
so you're looking at the same places for the same sort of things.
They're just right, like the biggest change that you'll ever see on this is in traditional QuickBooks, it's the review tab, the categorize tab, and the excluded tab, right? Or full review, categorize, excluded, right? And you've got to go, you've got to follow put the workflows in place to move from one tab to another. In this one, it's just a list of transactions, and they're again auto categorized, and you've got filter options, and you can kind of bring items in there, but there is no full review tab. The second that transaction hits the bank account, it's already in QuickBooks, automatically auto categorized. And then again, from our point of view, what we can add value to our client is then we'll check them and make sure that's going to the right place, or hopefully they've checked it.
And does it have like a full purchase ledger, like for bills, or is it just no purchase
ledger at all? There is a sales ledger as such, so you can raise sales invoices, but it's doing this really. Or is it strange? Basically, it's cash. It's all based on cash accounting. So you raise a sales invoice, you can raise an estimate as well, sales invoice estimate, whichever way you can do it. But you will only see that transaction in QuickBooks when it's been paid, as in the back end,
right?
In the reports that you run and everything.
I see.
Else.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to know those thoughts, Suzannah. As someone that doesn't use it so much, I'm like, what's going through your mind?
That is a different way of working for me, because I'm used to being able to see a purchase ledger and a sales ledger and be able to call up the debtors and the creditors and stuff like that, even with cash accounting clients. So that would be a different process to get my head around. And can you do things like journals or anything?
Yeah,
You
so
can
again,
still do
this is
journals,
where
but not
self-employed didn't. Yeah, self-employed had no thing. For journals, they're accountants only. And
Okay.
it's a weird, different way. So, and maybe this is, and maybe I've just not jumped into enough of the other products before, but there is definitely a accountants can do this and the client can't do this, or you get different experience on. So, for example, the bank reconciliation is accountants only. So the idea then is they send you the bank statements, you can reconcile it to give you that peace of mind at the end of the year. Journals are accountants only. So is the client logged in, they can't create journals, and they can't interact with the journals. And then one of the big ones that I go back and forth if this is right or wrong, chart of accounts. As an accountant, you can add new chart of accounts, you can amend chart of accounts, you can update the chart of accounts, but the client can't do that. So they will go in and they'll have a set chart of accounts depending on what industry or if they're rental or not rental, and then that's their chart of accounts. And it, you know, we've even got a handful of clients that are just buying the license through us so that we can maintain their chart of accounts, and that's the only reason.
I was going to say, so is it going to be possible for businesses to use it without an accountant or bookkeeper? Because it sounds like there's still going to be stuff that they won't be able to do when they, you know, in order to file their quarterly returns and their tax return.
So they can definitely not need, they definitely don't need an accountant. They'll just be kind of locked into the standard chart of accounts, and they'll just have to make it work, which is exactly the same as what self-employed was.
Right.
But now we have the added option of going right. So, and a lot of the, you know, standard ones will be related to what's on the tax return itself. So the idea would be that they're kind of matching it against the categories in the tax return, and then that's what they're pulling forward, and that's then what gets submitted basically on that behalf from there. There's a different way of looking at it. But as accountants, we can then go in, like for example, we've gone in and we put eBay fees in for clients and stuff like that, like stuff that's just fully related to them, and it just gives them some confidence in the numbers and everything else, because then they, you know, they know what they're looking for and they can put it through from there. That's not in the standard one. So I don't, is that typical? I'm trying to think. Free agent and the rest of it, do they have features that you as accountants you can only do?
You can set it to different levels in free agent, so you can give the client certain permissions. There's 8 levels, I think. So
8.
Eight level. If they're on level 8, they've, I think, got permission to do, I think, everything or pretty much everything. You know, and then you can make it go all the way down to, I think, level whatever. One of the basic levels is literally connect your bank feed, but you cannot do anything else. And then there's everything in between. So I think they can change their chart of accounts and add new categories and stuff if they're on a higher level. But otherwise, to be honest with mine, I tend to set them on a kind of medium level, so they can do the bits that they need to do, but they can't cause any damage or fuck anything.
And I definitely do see this. Sole trader is what we're talking about now, and that is for a particular type of client that's in a particular type of need, and you know, and again, it's back to those ones who probably never used software before, and again, there's a reason they've never used software. And I generally believe, other than the idea of using Metal or some of the other solutions where they can just interact with the bank, like that, I feel like that's another way to kind of look at the same sort of clientele. If we're looking at a Venn diagram of types of clients and stuff, you know, you're non-digital, you go into struggle, you know, and everything else. I think the QuickBooks Sole Trader and maybe like the bank account themselves, I think they're in their own little area where no one else really, in my opinion, can offer that without the client having to learn and understand and go through that sort of stuff, right? Like, it's a unique proposition, and we've already got it where clients have tried it, it's not quite worked for them, so we bump them up to QuickBooks, we give them the training, and then they're like, oh, this works for me now. So you've kind of got to keep that in mind with Sole Trader, but it's just, I'm just grateful that we've had an opportunity to have a solution like this, because if it wasn't for MTD, we'd still just have QuickBooks Self-Employed. And Self-Employed was such a polarizing software. As accountants, we didn't even get access to it properly, right? And we had to jump through hoops to get access to it and everything else. So yeah, I feel like that's the thing. And while it's not perfect in my eyes, and there's still stuff, I've got a whole list of stuff I want amending on it. I think for majority of MTD clients out there, it is one of the better solutions for them. Again, if we look at that Venn diagram and what they need, when you're talking about there where you want bills and you want that, this isn't for them, right? Like you know, there's a solution for them for that.
I definitely do see those people, again, going back to my people that don't have business bank accounts yet and are still giving me shoeboxes and don't want to go down the metal route potentially. This is a good solution for them, because you're right, they're not going to be delving into anything else. It's going to be the app on the phone, obviously when CIS works, with invoices, bank. That's it.
Yeah, and that's all you want them to do, really.
Yeah.
You don't want them getting.
Where I potentially have an issue is where I have clients that are currently using spreadsheets. Okay. And I don't know about you, some of mine have their own categories at the top, and they just like having it in their own words. So if they don't have access to the chart of accounts, and I do end up, this does happen with me with some limited companies when people are moving from sole traders to limited companies. So like, I want that category. I want it to say marketing, not advertising. And I want to do that. And I don't feel that there's more than the little, you know, they're not a small amount. It's just, you want to be able to put it in a category that you know that you're comfortable with. So I do feel like, I suppose like free agent, having the ability to choose whether they have the ability to change chart of accounts or not. Yeah. I think that would be much better, but completely understand why you're doing it for the shoebox clients. Yeah. I'm still going to call them that. I don't ever want to lose that terminology, shoebox clients. But I think when you're moving people from spreadsheets, you need to give them the choice whether they want to change. But I get why they have restricted it as well. It's rock and a hard place.
So the way we've dealt with the spreadsheet client, so we've got options, haven't we? You know, a lot of people will probably go down the route of just doing bridging, and they'll let the client continue to do their spreadsheet, and they'll offer service to bridge. And we're going to look at, like, part and parcel of this series is we want to look at some bridging solutions going down, like, and talk through and go through from there. The way we're tackling that is looking at the QuickBooks ecosystem. Sole trader is perfect. Again, look at that Venn diagram for, they've got a bank account. Most of those transactions go through the bank account. They've just never had any inkling to go digital before, or they've been using self-employed before. Like that, I feel like that's where it goes for, which is a significant part of the MTD people. And I think there's going to be a massive, I think what you're talking about there, though, is using other parts of the ecosystem. So I would use either a simple start license, which is the smallest version of QuickBooks Online, or probably even a ledger license or something like that. What I would do is using ChatGPT or other AIs available, and we will promise to kind of give prompts and stuff for how this works, but I would create a prompt within there that when I upload the document that the client's given us, it will make it into a QuickBooks friendly file, and we would upload that, so line by line by line by line by line by line.
Okay.
And the reason I would do it that way is because then if Apron is a good solution, or if the QuickBooks receipt capture is a good solution, or if any of those other integrations would work really well with this particular client, then I've got the line by line by line by line items as they've done them, and they're there, and I can keep them in my workflow. So I've got the working papers, I've got the books review, I've got all of that there for me as well. And then I can then use some of the cleverness, like receipt capture, like Apron and all that lot to maybe work with the client as well. Because that shoebox client you keep mentioning there, I don't think sole traders necessarily for them, because if you start scanning those in, you've just doubled your workload, right?
Yeah.
So I think a sole trade, a simple start, or a ledger license would be better suited for those.
Yeah.
Things. And using a bit of cleverness with AI, we could get that data to be QuickBooks, QuickBooks compatible quite easily. Get that into there, upload that to there, job done, you're in. So and I've not got it done yet, but I'm exploring a way of which with like ChatGPT, not only will you be able to dump the data in, it will convert it for you. There is a world where you dump the data in and it will just import it for you as well and log in and get it done. QuickBooks are also building their own import solution as well. So you can get bank statements and dump them in and it will just put them through. Mm-hmm. But there is a world where it can look at Excel documents as well. So I feel like those shoebox clients, we're going to be able to build a really elegant solution for them where it is we're digitalizing their records, right? Which sounds crazy when they're already on Excel, doesn't it? It's like, is Excel not digital anymore? Whatever you're going to phrase that service is going to be for your clients going forward, I feel like QuickBooks is going to have a SKU there that you can work with, and that's their USP at the moment. Is in my mind, they're the only product out there that literally has a solution from the very smallest client, like we're talking the tiniest tiny, which is sole trader. You know, your ledger client where you know they're using a third party or however it's going to be, and you're just wanting to digitalize it in a concise manner, all the way up, you know, simple start, essentials, plus advanced, and then even if you want to, there's going to be another SKU coming later down the line called Enterprise Intuit Suite as well, which is going to be like ERP solutions. So I feel like that's what they've got in their arsenal, right? Is that ecosystem of any type of client we can fit somewhere. And if you've got a client who's you've got big aspirations and want to grow, you should have a solution that can grow with them as well.
Got a sole trader on Enterprise.
Yeah, can you imagine?
God.
Can you imagine how much it will cost them as well?
I think by that point, I think a good accountant would have said, "Do you know what? Maybe you should think about a company."
You'd hope so.
You never know.
Before we go back to your question and see what Kirsty has to say, it says, I think part of the issue is who will be doing the work. I'm so familiar with QuickBooks. I have struggled a bit with free agent, but that's just 12 years of practice. If client, then free agent. I completely agree with it. And I think there's part of what we're used to, but also I'm sure Stu will be, you know, happy for me to make this assessment. One thing I would say about free agent is over the past couple of years, they have got massively better at being accountant and customer first, right? Whereas when they first set free agent up, it was purely the customer. How can we make it an elegant solution for them? And accountants and bookkeepers were afterthought, but in the nicer way. But you know, if I'm simplifying it, that's what we were, right? Yeah. Completely changed now. They've definitely gone another way, and but there is still history towards that. They've not 100% nailed the accountants and bookkeepers. And the way whenever someone has an argument with me or wants to try and rile me up and trying to do like Xero versus QuickBooks or whatever the solution is going to be, the way I've always said it is that it's always down to how you like to work with your clients. For me, most of the other solutions are very much let's get the transaction in right first time, each and every time. And I think for a lot of bookkeepers out there, that's the way they want it to do it. And you know, shout me if I'm talking wrong here, but you know, a lot of people want to make sure that if you're going to get a transaction in, it's right, it's first, it's done, and we don't have to do it again. I think QuickBooks makes it a lot easier for people to put transactions in that are going to be there or thereabouts. So probably most of the way there. But what QuickBooks does extremely well, and they've always had kind of that leg above, and all their products is tools to go in and make it so we can clean it up if we need to. And
I think free agent is pretty good at that now, because that's how I'm working with quite a few of my clients, where I've always come from the angle, I'm the bookkeeper, so I do the bookkeeping. I'm now taking on, or have sort of in the last however many years been taking on clients who want to do their own bookkeeping, but want someone to make sure it's correct and then do a tax return from it. So I have got clients who are doing their bookkeeping, and I provide a quarterly review service. And it's very, very easy just to sort of go through what they've categorized things as and just amend them, and you can do the find and recode and everything like that. So they have introduced that, much more
Okay.
recently. But yes, I agree with what you were saying. Originally, it was designed sorry, that's the dog walking in. Originally, it was designed with the business, the client, the sole trader, or the freelancer or the small business in mind.
But I bet if we looked at both platforms and we looked at percentages of mistakes, free agent will have much less, because the client have been asked many more questions before they've been able to post it, right? Like, and there are still restrictions within free agent, like, top of my head, you can't post like a director's loan quite easily, right? You've got to say who it belongs to. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's asking a lot for a good reason, and I love free agent for it. So the amount of errors that you've got to change will probably be less in free agent. And again, back to the point of they're still playing a little bit of catch up, is when they first released that fix and clean up thing, they couldn't let you fix the director's loan, right? They were still restrictive of where you can move things to. They've taken the feedback on, and I know they've updated it and everything else, but that's them playing catch up, isn't it? Where I feel like that's why QuickBooks will always have that competitive edge, if that's how you want to do it, because they make it so easy for you to get the data in there in the first place. And then once the data's in there, then they give you some amazing tools to be able to clean it up and go from there. Is that how you find it, Amy?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit confused. Not confused by it, but I'm in the mindset, like probably a lot of listeners, of I know one solution is not going to fit everyone. I know that. And I know this is why we're here. We're going through them all. We're going to explore. And as both of you were talking, I am putting it into my clients and thinking what particular client would be best, especially the ones that haven't got anything yet. And it's still that one in my head, one's going to be better for them and the other one's going to be better for me. So that's where the confusion comes in. It's like, I really need to establish who's going to want to do what first before I can then establish the solution, rather than go the solution and then we figure out who's going to do what. Because I feel like my shoebox clients would be better with the QuickBooks solution, because they're just getting the information in. They're not going to want to do their quarterly submissions themselves. So allow me to fix it easily and do it. And again, like everyone knows, QuickBooks is more of my happy place, but that doesn't mean I'm not looking at anything else. I am very, very much happy to go with anything that's best. Then obviously free agent is the free solution, and people that don't have a bank account are all up for free. We all are up for free these days, but I'm not as familiar with it, so it's going to be harder for me, and they've got to go through more to get to that point.
Easy.
I know, and I think that's where a lot of listeners will be. Obviously, that's why they're here, is trying to figure out.
But it is what we're used to. This is the thing, and we all have our preferences, what we're comfortable with, because it's what we've used historically. So we're bound to gravitate towards those solutions. But I think you're right with what you said about the first part of the process is working out how who's going to do what with each client and how it's going to work, and then you choose what's going to suit you and the client. And if you're more comfortable with one piece of software and it does what it needs to do, then of course you're going to choose that.
And we've got to, obviously, I'm delving off a little bit, but we've got to look at the people that we've got working with us and what they are comfortable with, because I very much started my practice in that I didn't want to be unique to one software when I started this practice, but it was not viable. And especially now, the changes are so quick in all the software, you can't keep up with all of them. Going back to QuickBooks, just wanted to, again, I'm acting as an impartial rather than someone in the know. If I'm not submitting through QuickBooks, can I still have clients listed and like manually tick, or will it pull through from HMRC that they have been submitted elsewhere? So like a practice, because I know QuickBooks has got practice manager. So can I manage the submissions through QuickBooks even though they've been done outside?
Just
gosh, here we go.
64 of the things in the NDA I can't talk about. There is definitely something coming on that one, so
Okay.
watch the space, but I don't know if it's available at like as in for launch. I think that could be a hard ask. I know there's some dates floating around of when they think it is, and if those dates do get hit, then we'll be fine. But I don't know.
Okay.
I think that's the big question I've been asking since day one of MTD, and this was what I remember multiple years ago in a room with QuickBooks saying, "You can show me all you want about how it files MTD. That's a given to me, right? What I need is to be able to look at my clients on a holistic view and be able to figure it out and go through from there." So they took that on board. So they're building something. I just don't know when it'll be available. Just because I'm conscious of time, we spent a lot of time talking about QuickBooks Sole Trader, because that's the new and shiny. Just remember on the QuickBooks online as well, you're going to get all the new stuff that's coming. So we've got a whole raft of AI goodness coming, like the idea that you can reconcile via AI, which I think is going to be so incredibly powerful when it comes on our shores. Quick teaser of how that works: you literally upload a bank statement. It reads every transaction in the bank statement and makes sure those transactions are appearing in your client's bank account and gives you a thumbs up. Or it will tell you that it shouldn't be there, or it'll even give you the transactions that are missing. So to me, like that's the coolness of because when we've talked about it before with MTD, right? There's not going to be much meat on the bone, so we're going to need to find ways to simplify processes like reconciling the bank going forward. So I'm really excited about stuff like that. And there's the with the AI stuff as well. There's going to be a lot around getting transactions in, like we've kind of alluded to there. So I feel like there's going to be enough there to help us with those bigger MTD clients, like you were talking about, Suzannah, about like how we can kind of make it easier for us going forward. And then the final bit is just their error checker stuff. Like they've got the VAT error checker, which is I think it's brilliant, right?
Yeah.
I really wish everyone else would just steal that and just bring that to the platform, right?
Yeah, it's good.
Like just have it. Right? But I again in that room when I was talking to, like, an error checker for MTD is an essential as well. And they definitely have one in the works. That's definitely
okay, and that's good to know.
So hopefully that will be live soon, because that's what you want. You want confidence, don't you? That's what you want them to bring it through and go through from there. There we are. I mean, I didn't expect it to go that quickly. Any more final questions of it before I take my hat off and become the host again?
Not for me, I don't think.
Not for me. No, we've gone through a lot.
And Kirsty's just reminded me, a submission log as well. 100% is needed, and go through from there.
Right.
And Dave says, "Thank you very much for insights about QuickBooks. Anytime, Dave. Anytime." And I'm back to being a host again. Right. If you want to have more information about the world of QuickBooks, then why not come along to QuickBooks Labs? We go live. When do we go live? In fact, I'll pass to you, Amy. You explain when we go live and what we talk about.
Is it the first Tuesday of every month? At like 4:30? I know it's like whenever Simon and Charlie are available, basically.
Pretty much.
You will catch Aaron and me. It will be announced on socials before it happens, but I believe it's the first Tuesday every month at 4:30. And
we try and release it on a Wednesday, is it? Friday?
Oh, I just come along for the recording. I don't know what happens afterwards.
Producer Lizzie gets it out for us as well. But if you want more information about QuickBooks, then definitely come along to that one. Go from there.
Yeah.
Suzannah, anything you want to plug?
No, I don't think there is actually this week. I can't think of anything.
Because you were just on Natasha's podcast, and that's now.
Oh yes, that's gone live now. Yes, I plugged that last week, so I feel cheeky plugging it again. But yes, my recording, my podcast that I did with Natasha Everard, her podcast, the Absolutely Bookkeeping podcast. My one has gone live now, so you can find that on the usual platforms. And I do talk. I tried to sort of make it kind of quite MTD-ish. And I talked about free agent and sort of related it to that. So,
that's why you're hashtag MTD Queen. Amy, anything you want to plug your end? What episode are we up to? What's live now?
Episode 2, Being Counter to Bosch. New, what are you doing? I know, right? Well, it might as well be. I mean, it's come out today. So on Spotify, YouTube, you can watch me on YouTube. I found out afterwards. Awkward. And Apple and everywhere podcasting. Obviously, I'm here. QuickBooks Labs. I'm going to be at the Accountants Manchester next Tuesday as well. I'll probably be hovering around the RC Accountant stand. Hi.
Yeah,
everyone.
we'll have things for you, cards for you as well to collect.
Top trumps.
Ah.
Yeah, so come and say hi. Ask us anything, MTD. Me, audit. Come talk to me about audit, please. Please be my friend.
Do you really want people coming to talk to you about audit? I mean, it's available if they want to, but yeah.
See, you're an example of a person I'm trying to change. Audit's
Yes.
fun. Okay.
Amy.
I'm fun. I'm the life and soul of audit.
I know you. I just don't know if I want to have a conversation about audit. I just don't know. I don't know.
Fine. Other people will.
As the Accountant Audit Series is on its way. Is that what you're telling people?
With one person listening, my mum.
Your mum, yeah.
She doesn't even listen. I would say hi, mum. She doesn't even listen. So, oh, good for you.
We'll download it at least.
Yes.
Right, buddy.
What about you, Aaron? What's going on with you, Aaron? Everything that's going on with you.
So 150 episodes of Ask the Accountant. The next episode, 151, is going to be a biggie. We're going to give to the world what we've got planned, how we are looking to take it further. Thanks to you guys again for the award-winning start that we've had to the Ask the Accountant Watch Series, the MTD one. And because of that, and because of some events that are coming up, we got some big changes. So do join us on episode 151, where we talk a little bit more about it all. And Kirsty, how did you know? Kirsty? So yeah, make sure stick around for that one. We'll be going live as always on Monday morning at 8:30 a.m. and then we will be at, first of all, the Digital Disruptor show. We're doing the live streams of that, and I'll be on the podcast. I think that's now public knowledge. I'll be doing the podcast where, put it this way, the first two topics they put together, they had to veto because they were worried that the lawyers would get involved. So that says it all about what this could be.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know what I've signed up for, but
I mean, Aaron, take your book with you. Clearly,
I might have to put on the other side, please don't cancel me. Yeah, looking forward to that. We're streaming the events. Well, good luck to everyone who's there. I put my votes in as a judge, so I'm looking forward to seeing which ones of those come to fruition or not. And then we've got Accountex as well. So like Amy said, come along, say hi to us, come play the Not Top Trumps game. The leaderboard's now back up and running. See if you can get yourself.
I've got FOMO. I'm going to miss Accountex North.
Come, just come along.
FOMO is real.
Jump on a train. It'll be all right. Or use your private jet. Just fly in and fly out.
Private jet. Go for it.
Have I not sent that check yet for your private jet with that account money? I've not done that. Sorry.
Not yet.
All right. And Amy, make sure you get on it as well. We want to make sure that you're on the
I'd be useless. I'd be absolutely useless, by the way. It'll be a blooper. All right, fine. See you at the bottom.
Sure, you'll do amazing. Yeah, hashtag good luck TCS. Good luck to them. Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, I couldn't possibly say who I voted for or got them in the first place. I couldn't possibly say who did that. Yeah, one of the judges was on TCS's side. Put it that way. Thanks again, everyone. I've rambled on far too long. Isn't there a little intro outro I'm supposed to say? I can't remember. Hey, you've had enough of us now. So we'll see you all this time next week for that's what I'm supposed to do. Tease the next episode. And the next episode is all about Xero and how good Xero is. So what more can we want from an MTD point of view? I've got questions. I'm sure you've got questions. Bring them along. And we'll be on set. Well, I'll be on set in Manchester. So that'll be good to see. Well, James come along, haven't we? For that one. So it'll be good to see. Brilliant. Cheers, everybody. Have a good week, and we'll see you same
Bye.
time, same place. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.